authentic story says that the Claddagh was created by a fisherman named Richard Joyce. On a trip to the West Indies, Joyce was captured by pirates and sold into slavery to a Moorish goldsmith in Algeria. Joyce was trained in this craft and developed skillfully as an artisan, ultimately living a pretty decent life for a slave. During his enslavement, the Claddagh ring was one of his designs that he created for his love back in Ireland. After 14 years of servitude, Joyce gained his freedom when King William III of England rose to power and ordered the release of all his subjects enslaved in Algeria back in 1689. Joyce's
Where did it originate from?
Well, as far as I'm aware, from this little book here called The Claddagh Ring Book by Malachy McCourt, the story which a lot of people seem to prefer is about Richard Joyce, who was going off to the West Indies to travel, and he was captured by Algerians, and he was brought to Algeria as a slave and was locked up for 15 years. And after 15 years, when Richard came back to Ireland, he designed the first Claddagh ring, and the heart represents love, and the crown is loyalty, and the hands are friendship. So it has a very nice meaning all round.
Is it as popular as it used to be to buy the Claddagh ring?
Oh yes, it's still very popular. Irish people love the Claddagh ring, and of course it has travelled all around the world and is famous. Many presidents have had Claddagh rings, like President Reagan and the Kennedys. And
are Irish people buying them?
Yes, very much so. It's still a great tradition for parents to give a Claddagh ring to their daughter or son.
One legend involves an Irishman named Richard Joyce, who supposedly left Ireland for the West Indies but was captured by pirates along the way. He was sold as a slave to an Algerian goldsmith and spent 14 years away from home. He was eventually able to return home and supposedly used the smithing skills he learned as a slave to craft the rings in Claddagh.
I'm in front of Thomas Dillon's Claddaugh shop. It's the oldest makers of the Claddagh ring since 1750. There's also a nice museum inside. Let's go. In the 17th century, the fisherman Richard Joyce was captured at sea and sold into slavery in Algeria, shortly before he wanted to marry his Margaret. He became the property of a rich goldsmith who trained him. With thoughts of the girl Richard had left behind, he fashioned the first Claddagh ring. In 1689, he was released and returned home to Galway and married his love and became a goldsmith. The Claddagh ring became more and more popular, especially as it was the only ring made in Ireland, worn by Queen Victoria, Queen Alexandra, and King Edward VII. Since 1750, the original Claddagh rings are handmade and supplied by Thomas Dillon, to whom the royal patent was granted. Only they have the official stamp on the ring. In 1962, Princess Grace of Monaco and Prince Rainier came to Dillon to buy a brooch and cufflinks embodying the Claddagh ring motif.